To master the winger position, you gotta know how to create space. As much as it's important to know what you can do with the ball as a winger, in my opinion, it's also really important, if not more important, to play the winger position when you know how to create space for yourself. Because your movement off the ball as a winger doesn't only create space for you, but it creates space for your teammates to receive the ball. When your team is building up from the back, you have a couple of options to do. But your movement off the ball as a winger really depends on what your fullback is doing. So this is the first step you need to realize and you need to understand as a winger. Because the type of fullback that you're playing with will really determine what kind of a winger you're gonna be. Your movement off the ball will really depend on what your fullback is doing. If your fullback is told to overlap, you have to make the inverted runs. Otherwise, your fullback left their position and now there is a space that is exposed in the back line. And you're wasting the whole space where you could be occupying the central channels and your fullback could be occupying the wide channels. Because it's all about making it wide when your team is attacking and making it tight when the opposition is attacking. You are occupying the opposition's fullback or opposition center back. So you are fooling them that you're gonna receive the ball. You're fooling them that you're making all those moves to get the ball. But you're actually fooling them to get away from that space so your fullback can occupy that space and receive the ball and attack with more players to the opposition's net. Because your goal when your fullback is overlapping is to keep the opposition's fullback and center backs busy. So basically fooling them that you're gonna receive the ball. And this is exactly why your movement off the ball as a winger is incredibly important, because you wanna get tight to them and you wanna get them to follow you central, so you are opening up that space in the back for your fullback to receive the ball. If your fullback is just one of those fullbacks just doesn't overlap, this is when you do the exactly opposite. Now your goal is to create central space for your central midfielders or attacking midfielders to receive the ball. And how do you do this? Exactly the opposite to what you do to create space for your fullback. Now you want to start central and occupy the opposition's center back, their central midfielder or their fullback, to suck them out of the position, to fool them to come with you, so it opens up a space for your central players to receive the ball. You cannot be a stationary winger. Stationary winger means that you're staying wide, you're not creating space for anybody but yourself. To be able to do this, you need to earn it. If you look at players like Vinny Jr., Kylian Mbappe, when they played the wide role, they earned that right to stay wide and receive the ball always to themselves. Where if you are a young player and just starting your journey, just starting to play as a winger, you need to be active and you need to be moving constantly to create space for one another. During the game, the most space you can find is the wide parts of the field. This is when you have to be in incredible communication with your fullbacks, because sometimes you will want your fullback to make the inverted run and you're gonna wanna receive the ball out wide. So this is good, it can happen, but you have to realize to drop deep to cover for your overlapping fullback, which you kind of have to do it every time your fullback overlaps, that you always have to keep it in the back of your head that you're gonna sometimes have to drop deep to cover the space that your fullback left open. Obviously there are different styles of wingers, where some are incredibly fast, some are brilliant, some are excellent when it comes to 1v1s. First of all, you need to establish which one are you. Are you super fast? Are you really smart? Or are you really good at 1v1s? Or you could be really good at all of them. But one mutual thing that you must have as a winger is the unpredictability. So if you're super fast, if you're super smart, or if you're really good at 1v1s, you still gotta be unpredictable. Obviously, if you're a super fast player, your unpredictability doesn't have to be as good as if you are a slow winger or a very smart winger but really good at 1v1s. So simply just use your speed to eliminate the defenders, and most likely if you're super fast, they won't be able to catch you anyways. If you are a slow winger, like myself, you're gonna need to really be unpredictable. You're gonna really need to know your positions, making the right runs at the right time, allowing your fullback to overlap you. This will make you unpredictable, because if you always decide to run with the ball, or if you always take the ball and go to one side, you are not very unpredictable, and they can kind of figure this out very quickly. And if you are still not very fast winger, but you're really good at 1v1s, you still need to be unpredictable, because you can't only take the ball to your dominant side or to your weak side. And if you take the ball to your weak side, the oppositions know this, and they're gonna always force you on your weaker side and not to allow you to go to your dominant side. If you wanna be an unpredictable winger to be successful, you either gonna need to be spectacularly fast, or you're gonna need to be really good at using your weak foot and your dominant foot. And how can you improve your weak foot to be unpredictable? You can always go and tell your coaches before the practices, okay coach, here, I'm only gonna be using my weak foot today because I really wanna improve it. I really wanna be unpredictable. And your coach will actually appreciate this. So they're gonna say, okay, this guy wants to improve themselves as a winger, and they're gonna look at you in a different way as well. Wrong. If you're gonna make the turn, here, pass it. If you kill it, you can't turn. Okay. You're basically done. Then you release it, right? If you're gonna turn, you're gonna do this. Yes.
What if I want to go to?
If you want to go to the other side, it's the same thing. But
Cool.
you're gonna have to use the foot. Like, you're leaning your body. So if you set yourself up like this, they know that you're gonna go inside, right? Yeah. Because here, pass it. Most likely you're gonna make this turn. That's when the defender always go to this side.
And then you just spin them that way too.
Exactly.
Foot, yeah.
So if most likely defender will be here, you'll never expect defender, if they know that you're right-footed, you never expect the defender to be here, right? So that's why here he's showing me this side, right? So then I have to go there. I have no other option. Or because you're not comfortable with your left foot, you kill it and you release it, then go to a better position.
Kind of like bouncing them.
Exactly. As a winger, your first touch is really important. You're gonna have to figure out when you should bounce the ball, or when you should take a touch, kill the ball, and dribble around the guy. So what happens is the opposition allows the ball to get to the winger first and puts the pressure here and traps the winger. The idea is, when do you decide you should go to him, or when do you decide you release that ball back to me?
If he's coming at me full, then I want to take him on, right? Yeah, well, because then they get a touch by him, his momentum's gone.
That depends on your first touch. The pass to you is not gonna be like this always. If it's like that, yeah, you can try to take him on. But what if the ball is like this, right? You had a shitty touch, now he's on to you. So if you kill the ball, you pass it back to me, you have no momentum, right? And you're playing against a very fast fullback, you played it to me, now you make inverted run.
So I run on the inside.
Inside. If you keep making the wide run, even though your fullback is not there maybe, that you're automatically thinking, okay, he's not there, I gotta make a wide run, it's not gonna work. You have to make the inverted run, so maybe the guy that you bounce it to, because he's tracking you, exactly, so I can go with the ball if your fullback is not going. It's also important to know your abilities. You have the speed, you have the speed, I don't have the speed. So what's the best option for me? Bounce it and probably make an inverted run. When I play winger as a slow winger, I play as a more like a wide attacking midfielder. So you can do it because you have the speed. If you're getting a bad ball, right, it's better to bounce it. Wider you are when you're getting that bad ball, the more danger you have of losing the ball and ball going out if your first touch is shit. What do you have to do to get yourself away so you don't lose the ball? Yeah, but you have to come out of the line. So if you had a bad first touch, the ball is not, that's right. So you kind of come here. So you know the ball is kind of like coming in a weird position where yes, you're making sure the team still has the possession. Because it's not always about what can you do with the ball, but what can we do to keep the possession within the team, right? One of your main goals as a winger is to provide scoring opportunities for your strikers. Being able to consistently cross the ball in the 18 for your strikers to score could be very challenging. You need to know the proper technique, your stance, as well as where on the field you should be kicking the ball to deliver these crosses. I think the main mistake that many wingers do when they're crossing the ball is to drive the ball too deep in the end line. where this gives opportunity for the opposition's defenders to come back in the 18 and defend the ball, as well as gives their goalkeeper a better position for them to come out and grab the ball. Going too deep on the line also gives a very bad angle for you to actually cross the ball. So your consistency actually drops quite a bit when you go too far down on the field to wait for a cross. I'm gonna tell you that something I figured out that's been way more consistent for me when I'm delivering those crosses, which is actually crossing the ball in the 2/3 of the field instead of going too far down on the field. So what this will do is actually gives you better angle for you to cross the ball, as well as it gives you the enough distance where the ball is gonna go from the goalkeeper as well as from the opposition's defenders, and gives your strikers a better chance to actually meet the ball at the perfect area where there's not too many defenders or goalkeeper actually bothering your striker. When you immediately receive the ball, set yourself up, quickly lift your head up, see who is in there, and then make your cross. And ideally, this is about 2/3 of the field towards the opposition side. And trust me, this will be a lot more unpredictable for the opposition's defenders as well as their goalkeeper, because the angle that you're gonna be crossing the ball from is gonna be much further and in a much direct angle towards the 18, where you're gonna be able to get way better curve from the ball. And the better curve you get from this, it's gonna be harder for the opposition's defenders to deal with these types of balls. When you are crossing these balls from that area of the field, you wanna aim for the penalty mark in the 18. And because this is a perfect place, it's just far enough from the goalkeeper as well as from the opposition's defenders. So right in between them. So which creates confusion as well. When you make the cross, the opposition is having a hard time understanding who needs to make the first move towards the ball, whether it's the goalkeeper or your defender. Plus, hopefully, your striker will be right there to actually make the first connection before their goalkeepers or the defenders. So ideally, you want to aim for the penalty mark, as well as about 3 meters high with the decent power behind it. And proper technique to cross the ball is you want to give the ball enough curve from outside to inside. The way to achieve this is to hit the ball with the inside of your foot to this part of the ball. You also want to keep a decent body composure as you're connecting with the ball. So you don't want to be leaning too far forward over the ball, or you don't want to be leaning too far back, because leaning too far forward will not give the enough height to the ball. But if you're leaning too far back, now you are lifting the ball really high. So you want to be just over it, almost like straight body, but keeping your head down from your neck will give just enough composure towards the ball to get the perfect height as the ball is traveling. The other important thing before you actually cross the ball is how you receive the ball. So when you are receiving the ball, just as ball is coming towards you, lift your head up and see who's making the run inside the 18. So you know if you should actually cross or if you should take a touch and go back, play to the other side. Because it's very important that you're not memorizing your next move, that you know one of your teammates or a couple of your teammates are making this run towards the 18. Or you can observe how many defenders are in there, or if the goalkeeper where he's supposed to be, whether in the net or too far out, because if the goalkeeper is too far out, now there's no point you actually crossing the ball, because most likely they're gonna use the advantage of their hands and grab the ball. So you don't want that. So you want to actually, before you receive the ball, lift your head up and actually observe all this stuff happening in the 18. Something I do myself personally, before every game, I will talk to my teammates and I will tell them, as the ball is being played towards me, make your run. Because if I take the ball and I make the first touch and I turn around and lift my head up, and my teammates are just starting to make their run, it's too late for me to cross the ball. Run from your striker or your other winger has to be started already as you are receiving the ball, so it's not too late for your teammates to be in the 18 when you're crossing the ball. Awareness needs to be very, very good for you to actually see all this happening before it actually happens. This kind of stuff, communication with your teammates, as well as your awareness, looking up, lifting your head up and looking inside the box is gonna give you this awareness that you need. You're gonna get the full potential from your crosses as you are approaching to cross the ball. Because you should never cross the ball just because you can cross the ball. You need to have a purpose as you're crossing the ball. And if there's nobody inside from your team in the 18, then there's no point crossing the ball. So you want to keep the ball as a team instead of rushing it towards the opposition's net. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like, subscribe to my channel. You can also find my playlist right over here. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next time.